It's very healing, and that's what most hospitals and people and Mother Nature knows. Any animal, it's sick, it just curls up, and it fasts, it goes to sleep, and then it reconstitutes itself.
Absolutely.
And so when we go to sleep at night, we don't need to have that cell phone. Even if we're a doctor or an actor on call, okay, big deal. We'll hear the phone. We can get up and go to the bathroom or grab the phone. But let it be plugged in and charged in your bathroom, and you go in your bedroom without TV or lights on, because believe me, you're going to be stronger, healthier, and find yourself reconstituted more naturally as nature and God provided for us.
We know that wireless radiation has been associated with decreases in melatonin and poor sleep for decades. It's very easy to test, and it's very easy to show. So yeah, forward your calls from your cell phone to your landline in case you get an emergency call. You can pick up your landline phone. That's an easy solution. But Wi-Fi, simple Wi-Fi is 2.4 gigahertz. That's 2 billion waves per second hitting your body while you're trying to sleep. It's not natural. Your heart has a circuitry and your head has a circuitry about 8 to 10 hertz. This is billions of times more than what's natural. So of course it affects our cells. Our cells are electromagnetic. These are electromagnetic waves. We are playing with the basic building blocks and the basic function and communication of our cells. And the industry denying it is just denying it. And common sense should take over to say, this
like
can be hurting us.
Mutant Ninja Turtles that are adapting and modulating our frequency in this new technology, and the kids and everybody, it grows and adapts. A kid on the desert versus an Eskimo, they're young kids, but they're going to adapt to their environment. We have this marvelous capability of doing that.
So you're saying we're like mutant Ninja Turtles? I don't think we can adapt.
I don't know.
I don't think we can adapt as fast as we're increasing the amount of frequencies and the amount of waves in our environment. And remember, the studies that are showing increases in cancer are from one source of wireless radiation. No one's exposed to one source anymore. Everyone's exposed to multiple sources.
Yeah.
And also,
besides the harmful products in your home, from all the chemicals they put in, cleaning agents or this, that, or the other, and also your food, when you buy a tomato sauce, and if it's this thick with all these preservatives and colors, better not even eat it. Get some tomatoes, mash them up, and make a tomato sauce.
And what's interesting about the studies is they show not only does it cause illness itself, but it also makes other carcinogens worse, because it ties up your cells trying to defend against all these waves, and when it does it, it makes other carcinogens more potent. So it has the kind of a collaborative effect. So people need to keep this in mind, and so reducing your wireless radiation exposure will make you healthy overall and will make you more resistant to all diseases. So it's definitely something for people to pay attention to, and certainly to hold the government responsible for not exposing us more greatly against our will, without our consent, and exempt from looking at health effects, which is completely absurd, but that's the law. According to the 1996 Telecommunications Act, Section 704, it is illegal for local governments to look at health and safety when placing a cell tower.
What, are you kidding? Well, that's it. Clinton, man, that whole Black Lives Matter, they're prejudiced in Arkansas. There are a lot of blacks, and he privatized the jails. And now we have more malevolence and stupidity in our hands than we ever thought possible. Now, all this legislation that is supposedly illegal is supposed to protect us, when in fact all it does is give carte blanche to the corporations and the corporate greed. So multimillionaires become billionaires, and then they become multi-billionaires. I mean, where's our moral
compass?
Reality of checks and balances within government, or our own. The jihad, the holy jihad in Muslim religion, is control of your morality, of your appetites, of your mind, of your mouth. And that's the holy war, to be able to control. Because, and like in yoga or any spiritual discipline, you control your own being, and then you emanate around you a sense of balance and well-being. But it's up to every individual to sort of rein in their energy and their thoughts, otherwise they go crazy. And the idea of this luxury class, multimillionaire politicians that believe that they have a right, they're surrounded in pseudo-security and yes men, and then they get the money, and so they just keep the ball rolling in their direction, which is unfortunate. But we have with like Pray for Iraq, there's a painting I made that obviously is an awful thing. You think you're doing good, but you're doing wrong. You're stealing people's oil, you're running your program, and it's not right. America is a good, wonderful country when we listen to each other and share our resources instead of just gobble up and say, this is for me, you know. It's unfortunate but I think we're evolving. We're growing.
And I think, Frank, you make a good point. The 1996 Telecom Act, got rid of a check and balance, right? That local and state governments are supposed to be able to look at health and safety when they're placing these cell towers, especially near schools and churches and people's homes. And they were taking away that right. They were taking away that. So the corporations, they were protected, and what they're doing has been protected, but the people aren't being protected. They lost all their rights, not to protest against these type of cell towers, and also sue when they get harmed by these cell towers. They took away all our rights. So the corporations have no incentive now to make this technology safer, which it could be safer, and to keep this technology at safe distance from people. And now with 5G, putting it close to your home, in front of your home, right in the public right-of-way where you have no need for notification, no possibility for pushing back and looking at health and safety. This is just an egregious affront. This is just an abuse of power.
And kids today all are on computers from the get-go. So they're young age. They should be learning multiple languages, like in Sweden or Spain. In first, second, third grade, you're taught Spanish, French, English. Now, another thing, I was talking to some cell phone tower installers about how do we protect ourselves. How do you protect? And they talked to me about a Faraday mesh. Have you heard about that? The Faraday mesh is you take copper, like the Brillo pads, and you put them on a board around like your windows or something, and that will break make a barrier to the cell phone so it doesn't invade and bombard your psyche and biochemistry.
Well, a couple things. Faraday cages shielding is a double-edged sword, because while it shields, and that's kind of a misnomer, it bounces off some of the waves. It also absorbs some of the waves, so it's also more of an attractor of waves. So, and for people who are electrosensitive and become sick from wireless radiation, when they put this on their windows, they get a lot of reflection inside. So if there's any kind of fields inside. So most people who are electrosensitive don't like using shielding, because while it shields from certain types of fields, it increases other types of fields. So it's really tricky. What you want to do is prevent and minimize the exposure from the beginning. And remember, these waves are designed to pass through your walls. That's not going to help you. And that's why they're used, because they can pass through your walls and get to the other side. People need to wonder, when they're in their elevator and their cell phone goes off, how did that wave get there? And what happens when those waves pass through me?
Well, man, well, God bless you. Good talking with you. And again, your website and the contact is what?
Yeah, my contact's WEANow7, the number 7, @gmail.com. We need your testimonials if you're already sick. We need you to be involved. If you don't want to personally get involved, fundraising is always something we could use help with. Organizations, we could use help with organization. Computer assistance, anything you can do, we need your help. We're up against the number one most powerful industry in the country. We're dealing with a technology you can't see, feel, or hear, so a lot has to be put into science to prove the health effects. And they are ramrodding this technology down our throat, and we need the lawyers who made this all happen to stop it from continuing.
Right on. Well, good luck and God bless you in campaign, and I'm glad I was able to help out. And we'll be looking at this show and probably rebroadcasting it, because this is an ongoing issue that's just going from bad to worse, unfortunately.
Absolutely. And the two bills in New York that we were talking about, Senate 2042, introduced by Little and Grifo. Please contact them about this bill and your representatives on the state level. And for the New York State Department of Environment Conservation, 6 NYCRR Part 617 rulemaking that exempts any wireless emitting device from having to have any kind of environmental review if the structure is already pre-existing should absolutely be reversed. And the fact that it's being passed by the Environmental Conservation Department makes me sick, because this is the greatest environmental and health threat of our time. Hardly anyone is talking about it. We're not funding it, to looking at it to the degree we should, although we have enough evidence of harm already, and we have people getting sick already, and we're certainly not doing anything to protect people. People are electrosensitive, normal people who are developing cancer, and we are acting and spending millions and billions of dollars, public dollars, to make the problem exponentially billions of times worse, and 5G is a great representation of that.
Well, thank you for sharing that, and I'm sure we're going to come around to understanding the reality, because the truth will prevail, the lies will fail. They can't keep, as what was it, Abraham Lincoln that said, you can fool some of the public all the time, you can fool all of the public some of the time, but you can't fool all the public all the time.
And shows like yours can get the word out, and be like community, like you say. Share this with other shows. Share this show with other shows. Share this information with other shows. Let's get the word out. Let's make this a public movement, because it's the public who's going to be impacted. They should care. They need to care. The alternative is a very bad, very sad one, and we already see it, and we just don't want more sickness and death in our communities.
No, of course not. And drinking water is good to stay hydrated. Oftentimes people aren't so sick, they're just dehydrated, and we need to do more breathing and exercise, align our backbone, and maybe alternate breathing, and stretching and flexing, and taking a good brisk walk. And as I say, sleep with the phone in the bedroom or in the bathroom charging up, and give yourself a break from it. Oftentimes I'll just go, and my girlfriend or other friends are saying, "Frank, where were you?" And I say, "Well, I just went out of the house without the phone." And they say, "Wow, man, you can't do that." And I say, "Yes, I can. And I'm just as healthy and happy to do it, It's like there's a time to connect and disconnect, and it's okay to go to the mountains or to the desert or the seashore and just leave your phone in your car. Don't worry about it. You don't have to sleep with it and hold on to it and be addicted to it. It becomes an addiction, and it's almost sickness. That we need to, it's a tool, and let's use it, but let's not be addicted to it, and we don't need it, because it's suddenly you feel you're jonesing. It's like anything. Your system gets used to it. And we have to really get more sensitive to our psychokinetic electromagnetic fields, and also, as I say, stretch and flex and take a different diet, take a different break, and break up your patterning, because otherwise you're going to go down the rabbit hole of your own little silliness that will wind up, totally addicted to something.
And if you believe in harmony and you believe in living in the proper frequency, think about it. These are man-made, unnatural frequencies that are raising and changing your frequency in your body without your choice, without your consent. And they are billions of times more than what's natural. Think about that. Let's get back to what's natural, what's normal, and that's only about 10 hertz versus 10 billion hertz. So,
will we be able to download lots of data and different apps with 10 hertz?
This new 5G technology, the idea is to put transmitters in all things in your house, and that they're all going to be communicating with each other, and you need your own personal cell tower to have those transmitters
Doesn't
communicate.
That give us free internet and more accessibility?
That free internet, most systems, they give you a free internet that's not very good, and they give you an internet you can pay for that's much, much better. So that free internet is usually just talk. And these devices, the vision of 5G is that everything in your home will have a transmitter in it, and these transmitters will all communicate with each other. But that vision is flawed, because that means you're going to be living inside of a soup of wireless radiation transmissions. And why does your stove need to contact your refrigerator? And why do you need to be able to see in your refrigerator? The reality is this is a huge violation of privacy also. They want to know what you're doing in your homes. And with these transmitters, they will know what you're doing. And they want to know what's in your refrigerator, because they want to know what you're shopping for. They want to mine that data. Okay, so this is a massive violation of privacy as well.
Let me share with you a story. About 2 or 3 in the morning, a couple of years ago, a guy selling Christmas trees I was on 2nd Avenue, and we were talking. He was from Canada, and I gave him this Australian fellow, and wonderful, and lovely chap. And he was with Top Secret Service. And I said, oh, yeah. And now he's running a hedge fund. So he wasn't doing military intelligence with Australia and the defense mechanism. He got a cushy job. He came to New York City. He was new to the city. And he's running a hedge fund. So we got like billions of dollars, or whatever, hundreds of millions of portfolio he's running. He got a nice little apartment. So I'm a New Yorker, and I was traumatized. I lost someone on 9/11, and I'm always, I was there that day, I almost died, and I'm like saying, so we get to talk about 9/11 too. And he starts getting very nervous. He said, hush, hush, and I said, well, what's the matter? I thought you're no longer with Secret Service or surveillance clearance and all that. I said, yeah, but I'm responsible for a hedge fund.